Welcome to our secret lab. Today we'll be running an experiment on a large and diverse cast of Dexter's Laboratory to see who's the most heroic and who is the most villainous. Dexter's Lab is an interesting show because it was really 3 shows in one. Of course, there were the Dexter segments, but you also had Dial M for Monkey and the Justice Friends. This gave it tons of variety in its characters, with the cast ranging from boy geniuses to superheroes to alien monsters. Hey guys, I'm Brad with Wicked Binge, and this is Dexter's Laboratory, good to evil. For this list, we'll be starting off with the most pure characters and working down to the most evil. These characters are the good. Securing first place is Monkey, the main protagonist of Dial M for Monkey. Monkey was a pet in Dexter's lab who was frequently experimented on by Dexter. While Dexter thought the experiments had no effect on him, they actually gave him superpowers. When Dexter isn't around, he becomes a superhero. When he dons this persona, he works for the organization Global Security and protects Earth from evil. From Monkey seeking revenge on humanity to kaiju running amok, Monkey is a hero anyone can count on. We feel Monkey is the most noble character because everyone in the show does. Dexter even calls him the world's greatest hero. As you'll find out later, earning praise from Dexter isn't exactly an easy accomplishment. After multiple heroes fail to stop the beast Bad Extra, Monkey is called in as a last resort, proving that he's the hero the world trusts most. He's the strongest superhero in the series, but he has other accomplishments to help back up this title. When all of Earth's heroes were forced to fight the destroyer of worlds known as Razlor, Monkey was the only one who could beat him. While Monkey is a formidable fighter, he can also resolve conflict without resorting to fisticuffs. He stopped Simeon by giving him a banana, causing him to stop his plan of invading Earth. He even fell in love with his nemesis Quacker. Keeping the Earth safe is his #1 priority, and handles this job with a level of seriousness the other heroes in the show just don't. It is for these reasons that we name Monkey as the most heroic character in the show. The silver medal goes to Kuzla Goopagoop, or Kuzi. Kuzi is Didi's imaginary friend and resides in the land of Kuz. Just like Didi, he's loving and warm to others. Kuzi deserves this spot because he has little in the way of flaws. He loves everyone, even if they don't share the same feelings. He wants to brighten the day of anyone he encounters. When the going gets tough, Kuzi keeps his chin up and looks to the positives. When the king of Kuzland went missing, he teamed with Dexter to save him. His only flaw is that he lied to Didi about being king of Kuzland. While he felt this would impress her, she ultimately didn't mind that he wasn't the ruler. Kuz maintains a good relationship with most of the other characters. Surprisingly, Kuzi was able to melt even Dexter's icy heart. With all this in mind, this is an imaginary friend who has certainly earned second place. Third place is Dexter and Didi's mom. We'll just call her Mom for short. Mom is not perfect. She's oblivious to the laboratory Dexter is hiding from under her nose. She's deathly scared of germs and is a neat freak. Despite those quirks, Mom makes for an excellent maternal figure. She cares for her family and will keep them out of harm's way. The easiest way to press her buttons is to hurt her children. When her and the family attempt to save Dexter from aliens, Dexter shrieks for help and she goes ballistic on the aliens. When the kaiju Bad Extra needed to be stopped, she helped her family in the battle against it. She's a caring person and only wants for her and her family to have a happy life. Even after being granted superpowers, she remained a good-hearted person. And what did she do with the power? Made sure her kids had their lunch for school, helped customers check out of a grocery store faster, and thwart a bank robbery. Any other character would have used their new powers for selfish gain, but not Mom. No matter what, she remains a loving, kind, and caring mother, and that is why she gets the bronze medal. What happens when you combine the god of thunder, Thor, with the guitar god, Eddie Van Halen? You get our next pick, Valhallan. Valhallan is the Viking god of rock and is a key member of the Justice Friends. He loves crime fighting, rocking out, and his adoring legion of fans. We rank Valhallan higher than most of the other superhero characters because of his more laid-back attitude. Compared to the likes of Major Glory and Krunk, who we'll get to soon, he's the sanest of the Justice Friends. You can think of him as a team straight man. He's a lot more down to earth and has a better sense of self-awareness than his roommates. When the infragable Krunk was suffering from a toothache, Valhallan was the only person to suggest he do the obvious: go to the dentist. Valhallan rarely loses his temper, something his friends have more trouble doing. You may be thinking Valhallan's mellow attitude makes him not well equipped for the role of a superhero, but he's not all fun and games. When the world is in peril, Valhallan handles his duties seriously. Whether he's fighting criminals in the streets or intergalactic wrestlers, Valhallan will always handle the situation with the importance it requires. His valorous demeanor, coupled with a better sense of sanity than other heroes, makes him the most well-rounded member of the Justice Friends. Next is Action Hank. Action Hank is every 80s action hero character rolled into one. He has elements of Rambo, Mr. T, Shaft, and anyone else you can think of. Being an amalgamation of so many action hero icons is enough to place him this high, but there is more that makes Action Hank one of the most heroic characters in the Dexter's Lab universe. Action Hank is different than the other heroes, because he isn't actually a superhero. He's just an average guy who will keep Earth and its citizens safe. This makes him a better hero. He has no powers, but is just as dedicated to the superhero cause as characters like Monkey or the Justice Friends. He's also saved major characters. He saved Dexter after a group of criminals mistook him for Hank, and he saved Didi from a problem of her own. Action Hank may seem like a generic macho man, but he's warm and easygoing. He loves his fans and will take time out to interact with them. He's even the head of his own fan club. The only reason we don't rank him higher is because of a lack of appearances. Hank only showed up in 3 episodes, a lot less than other heroes. But he still made an impact and deserves to be counted among the most valiant characters in the show. Besides, he taught us a valuable lesson. It's not the beard on the outside that counts, it's the beard on the inside. Has there ever been a statement as true as that? Next is the infraggable Krunk, a member of the Justice Friends. Krunk is a giant purple monster who bears no resemblance to a certain Green Goliath from Marvel Comics. Nope, not even a little bit. Krunk is different from his roommates in that he is the most childish. This is both a good thing and a bad thing. Let's start with the good. His childlike attitude makes him warm and helpful to others. He's a lot like a gentle giant. Krunk wants to have a good time, whether that be helping a kid get a cat out of a tree or watching TV Puppet Pals. He gets along well with most, even his enemies. He fell in love with the villain She-Thing, his evil counterpart. Oddly, she felt the same way for him, and the two became a couple. And of course, he's just as committed to the safety of others as his superhero comrades are, and he may be the strongest out of the Justice Friends. Now on to his flaws. When we said he was childish, we weren't exaggerating. He's prone to large temper tantrums when things go wrong. He became enraged at Major Glory and Valhallan when they destroyed the TV as he was watching TV Puppet Pals. The show is important to him, and it's a source of conflict when his roommates don't feel the same way towards it as he does. His anger issues make him a wild card. You never know if he's gonna help you one second or make a mess out of you the next. Despite this, he's on good terms with his friends and the citizens more often than not. In the end, Krunk's childish behavior is more of a positive trait than a negative, and that's why he's on the good. Rounding out the big 3 of the Justice Friends, we have Major Glory. If you thought Captain America was the epitome of fictional patriotism, you clearly have not met this guy. Can you get any more patriotic than a guy who was mentioned by Uncle Sam himself? A beacon of justice, Major Glory certainly has enough to warrant him a position on our good list. Glory is overly patriotic. He always keeps his focus on fighting evildoers and protecting the innocent. In the Justice Friends household, he is the voice of reason. He's not childish in the way Krunk is, and he's more uptight than Valhallan. Even though they squabble frequently, he remains friends with them and sees them as family. Unfortunately, Major Glory has a few issues that put him lower on the list than his roommates. He can be a coward, depending on the situation. He's scared of the dentist, bees, and especially disappointing Uncle Sam. In one episode, he and the other Justice Friends worked to make sure the place was clean in preparation for Sam's arrival. Major Glory's demands become too much for Krunk and Valhallan, and they turned on him. Glory may even be the member of the team who's the most at odds with the others. He battled Valhallan, who kept recommending Krunk go to the dentist, a sentiment Glory advised against. The two fought in another episode over something as simple as to what to watch on TV. He's also egotistical, as he relishes the opportunity to advertise Justice fruit pies, a snack with him and the other Justice friends on the front of the packaging. Major Glory is obviously a hero, but he may need to work on some of his fears if he wants to be considered the best of the best. Next is Monkey's sidekick, Agent Honeydew, an agent for the defense organization Global Security, as well as an ally to the Justice Friends. Honeydew is committed to protecting the Earth from all kinds of intergalactic threats. For instance, she led a battalion of Global Security agents against the evil kaiju Bad Extra when he was terrorizing Japan. When things get tough, she can use her telepathic abilities to ask Monkey for help. Honeydew and Monkey possess a great bond, they get along well, and they'll always have each other's back. She's also an optimist. She always believes that Monkey will show up in time to save the day. Unfortunately, Honeydew's short list of appearances keeps her from being higher on the list. She only appeared in like half a dozen episodes, and she didn't have much screen time in these episodes either. We never got a chance to explore her personality. Despite a lack of characterization, Agent Honeydew remains one of Global Security's most trusted agents, and a courageous character in the show's universe, placing her firmly in the good tier. What does this button do? Oh, it shows our next character. In this case, it's Didi. Didi has a reputation for being a troublemaker, and it's hard not to see why. Plenty of Dexter's experiments went wrong solely because of her. Even when Dexter was a baby, she was ruining his inventions. She can be a bully. She stole money from Dexter right in front of him. When he asked why she did this, she said he was so small and puny that he'd stand no chance at stopping her from doing it. Didi has a knack for causing trouble, but at her core, she's a good person. We are talking about a person who was once elected to become Major Glory's sidekick. Besides that, she's a down-to-earth person. She tries to become friends with everyone, even her rivals. At times, it seems she may be smarter than Dexter. She has a lot more common sense than he does, and has corrected him on things. Although she gives him a lot of grief, she still loves him. Didi will help him out if he needs her to. She destroyed Mandark's lab, making Dexter look like the smarter one. When the android Ultrabot 2000 took over the lab, Dexter called in Didi to destroy him. And arguably her greatest moment, and what solidifies her in the good category, is her role in the TV movie. Didi had time traveled to the future. In this future, Mandark reigns supreme, and a group of Dexters from different eras face off against multiple Mandarks. She manages to undo this evil future and save society from servitude under Mandark. Didi is the savior of humanity. Even though she's a handful, Didi is one of the nicest characters in the entire series and earns this spot on the list. If Didi's here, her friends cannot be far behind. This slot goes out to Mimi and Lili. These two are Didi's greatest friends, even if they give her trouble. While they don't have a ton of appearances as they are absent in later seasons, they're almost as kind-hearted as Didi is. In one episode, the trio become crime fighters, sworn to protect their neighborhood. While their attempt didn't work out, it showed that they care about the well-being of others. Much like Didi, they try to get along with others and just have fun. They aren't totally like Didi, and their differences are what put them lower on the list than her. Don't forget, we did say they were almost as kind as her. They have more of an attitude and are at odds with her at times. When Didi turned into a real pony, Lili and Mimi rode her to the point of exhaustion. It's kinda sadistic when you think about it. Though they have more negative qualities than their best friend, Mimi and Lili are with Didi until the end, and have done enough good deeds to get them this spot on our list. Finishing off the good category, we have Dad, the father of Dexter and Didi. Dad has plenty of positive traits. For the most part, he's a good father and husband. He relishes the opportunity to spend time with his kids. He only gets angry if something terrible has happened, like if a trophy of his has been destroyed. He also joined the rest of his family in a mech to take out the monster Bad Extra. However, he has some negative attributes that put him at the bottom of this category. Much like his wife, he's oblivious to Dexter's lab. He can also be a bully, a trait Didi probably inherited from him. Dexter was paranoid of going into the new family pool. This was because Dad would knock Dexter into the pool. He can be rather immature, pulling off pranks frequently on his family. Dad is manipulative too. He kept trying to find ways to get into Mom's muffins, but Dexter and Didi would stop him. At one point in the episode, he demands Dexter give him the muffins, using his role as father to his advantage. Even through these flaws, he's a good person. He's a typical cartoon father who provides for the family he loves so much, and that keeps him in the good tier. That wraps up the good characters. Now we delve into the characters who aren't good but aren't necessarily bad either. This is the gray area. First off, we have Lalosevic. Appearing only in one episode, Didi's rival, she fit that role perfectly. She outdoes Didi in dancing, similarly to how Mandark outsmarted Dexter in his debut. In fact, Lalosevic is Mandark's younger sister, and she even shares the same voice actor. She's our first character in the gray area because she doesn't particularly do anything evil, but does enough to keep her from being good. She ultimately becomes friends with Didi, but she has a darker side. Where Didi is lighthearted and happy, Lalosevic is aggressive and mean. While Didi is very loving of her brother, Lalosevic beats up her brother and sees him as a dweeb. And if you scared the guy who ended up ruling Earth, can you really be categorized as good? While Lalosevic is relatively harmless compared to the characters that are to come, her personality is nasty enough to put her in the gray area. Next is the boy genius, Dexter. Starting off on a positive note, Dexter has done a lot of good. Though Didi gets on his nerves, he will keep her safe. He saved her life on multiple occasions. In addition, he fought off Bad Extra when he attacked Japan. The TV movie revolved around him and his future counterparts working to undo a future where Mandark rules Earth. However, a lot of these actions are not the result of some sense of justice. They come primarily from his ego. Dexter is egotistical and thinks he's smarter than anyone else. His rivalry with Mandark exists not because he believes Mandark is evil, but because they both try to prove they are the smartest. When Didi manages to undo Mandark's future, Dexter is enraged that he can't be considered the Earth's savior and tries to destroy her in the aftermath. He can also be selfish. He tries to ruin the relationship between his babysitter and her boyfriend, just so he can start a romance with her. This doesn't work out, which is a running theme for old Dex, and his experiments usually end in disaster. One episode saw him become a Hulk-like monster after creating a device to like vegetables, while another focused on a robot he created, trying to destroy him after labeling him as obsolete. Dexter is naive too. Once he grew a beard, all because his idol Action Hank had one, and he saw it as the mark of a hero. He's also oblivious that his pet monkey is a superhero. His relationship with Didi, like we stated earlier, has its issues. He made contact with aliens, who he then gave Didi away to. Of course, he soon realizes he's made a horrible mistake, but it's just one of the many instances of Dexter doing anything to get Didi out of his hair. Dexter is not the smartest or nicest, but he's far from an evil genius. He'll realize when he messes up and work to make things right, and that's why he's in the gray area. Just don't sneak into his lab. We've got a 2-in-1 for our next pick. Here we have Rude Dexter and Rude Didi. A lot of you are probably confused as to who these characters are. If you are, we forgive you, because they only appeared in one episode, Rude Removal. This was an infamous unaired episode that, for the longest time, could only be seen at animation conventions. In this episode, Dexter seeks to remove Didi's rudeness, but both of them end up in the rude removal machine. They come out of it acting polite and well-mannered, but their rude attributes have been channeled into duplicates of themselves. Rude Dexter and Rude Didi wreak havoc all over the lab, insult mom, and curse like sailors. These two are not evil, but they're definitely the most vulgar characters. They are unsurprisingly rude to the core. It's their only personality trait. Thankfully, the real Dexter and Didi get rid of the clones and get their rude emotions back. Unfortunately, the damage is already done, as mom prepares to clean their mouths with soap. Rude Dexter and Rude Didi are the perfect characters to be in the gray area. They're not good, but none of their actions can be classified as evil either. These are two kids you don't want to get on the nerves of. We've reached the end of the gray area, and our final pick is Simeon, a villain from the Dial M for Monkey shorts. Simeon is like Monkey's foil. Both of them were monkeys tested on by humans who were eventually gifted extraordinary powers. In Simeon's case, he was the first monkey launched into space by NASA. His ship was later destroyed, and he was flung into orbit and hit by gamma rays. The rays granted him super strength and an intelligent mind. Simeon created an entire planet with just his thoughts, and this planet became the basis of his evil empire. He dedicates his life to forming an army that has one goal in mind: the destruction of the human race, who he sees as the source of his suffering. Simeon sounds like a villain, so you're probably wondering why he isn't in our evil category. Make no mistake, he partakes in evildoing. For example, his fleet takes out a group of global security ships. In the end, however, he doesn't follow through with his main plan. Monkey reaches out to him, and Simeon sees the error of his ways. He destroys both his space station and his army, and realizes destroying the human race will only bring about more pain. He embraces his origins as an average monkey and proceeds to live the rest of his life in the jungle. Simeon is a dangerous foe at first, but his sympathetic origin and refusal to go through with the destruction of Earth place him at the edge of the gray tier. That's it for the gray area. Now we're getting into some bad eggs. These characters are bad to evil. Starting off the bad category, we have Ultrabot 2000, appearing only in one episode. This android is essentially the Dexter's Laboratory equivalent of HAL 9000. He's a robot created by Dexter to help him maintain the lab, but like many of his experiments, things go horribly wrong. He starts to reorganize and redesign the lab as Dexter sleeps, making things more in line with his standards and not Dexter's. Things begin to escalate when he attempts to get rid of all that he deems obsolete, including Dexter. By the end of the episode, the entire lab is in Ultrabot's image. He's accompanied by his observation units, which are turrets designed to take out Dexter and anything else seen as obsolete. Only one character can make a mess out of things and destroy Ultrabot, and that person is Didi. It is only through her actions that Ultrabot doesn't annihilate Dexter. Overall, we feel Ultrabot is a perfect start to the bad tier. He's the first person, or robot, to actually try to kill a major character. Ultrabot is a scary individual. There aren't many things scarier than a cold, emotionless AI. Next is the Dexter's Lab version of Godzilla, Bad Extra. A kaiju with an axe for a nose. This monster was created by Japanese atomic scientists. Things didn't go so well, and he soon went on a terror spree all over Japan. He was eventually captured, but even that didn't last forever. Dexter accidentally released him from the mountain that held him hostage, allowing him to begin his reign of evil anew. Bad Extra is arguably one of the most dangerous foes in the Dexter universe. This is a character who was able to battle Monkey, Global Security, the Justice Friends, Mandark, Dexter, and his family. And he made short work out of the majority of them. While he is a mindless monster, that makes him all the more dangerous. He wants destruction and chaos, and there's little anyone can do to stop him. Bad Extra was so dangerous, Dexter had to destroy him, ensuring he wouldn't ever be a threat to the world again. Bad Extra is one of the baddest foes in the show, and with how much he destroys in the episode, he may be the first character on the list with a body count, making him a perfect fit for this spot on the list. If you see this guy, run away as far as you can. Our next choice goes to one of the greatest hunters in the universe, Huntor, a member of Monkey's Rogue Gallery. Huntor more than lives up to his reputation as a great hunter. His home is full of trophies collected from the various alien species he has hunted down. In the show, he actually focuses on hunting superheroes, as he feels they're the only ones who can provide him with a thrill. Huntor's kill count and ability to take on the greatest of heroes is impressive when you consider he has no superhuman abilities. This forces him to rely solely on his equipment and skills. This is one of the main reasons he's so high on this list. He doesn't have the abilities of some of our previous entries, but he outdoes them all in villainy. Huntor sees the destruction of alien and superhero lives as a game, making him a sadistic character. He even gives Monkey a hard time during their fight, placing him as one of his most formidable foes. As he battles Monkey, he comes prepared with tons of technology that is designed to counter Monkey's abilities. This also shows that he's one of the smarter villains in the Dexter universe. His profession, weaponry, and skills all paint him as one of the scariest villains a superhero could ever face. This is a guy who even gave Samurai Jack some trouble, although that may be a story for a different time. Second place goes to Mandark. Mandark is undeniably evil. I mean, saying his name causes thunder to strike. In a lot of ways, Mandark is similar to Dexter. Mandark, just like Dexter, is obsessed with proving he's the smartest of the two. He tries to get Dexter to either shut down his lab or become his lackey, after he showcases the immensity of his own lab. Mandark can be manipulative, depending on the situation, as he uses Dexter's ego against him. As the series progresses, Mandark becomes more obsessed with one-upping Dexter. Whether it be through a science fair project or bringing to life statues of presidents, Mandark is focused on proving he is smarter than Dexter. When Bad Extra was released, Mandark was one of many who attempted to take out the beast. Unfortunately, he only did it to steal the recognition of being a hero away from Dexter. Making things worse, his attacks only make the monster bigger, causing him to be a bigger hindrance than help. What gets Mandark a spot so high on the list is his appearance in the Ego Trip movie. We see Mandark throughout many stages of his adult life, and he only becomes more evil as time goes on. As a young adult, he's the boss at a company called The Corporation. He gets his position after stealing many of Dexter's ideas and presenting them as his own. He's abusive to his employees, especially Dexter. Even farther into the future, he becomes the ruler of the entire Earth. As ruler, he takes all the intelligence away from Earth's citizens as he's afraid of anyone being smarter than him. Mandark might seem like an egotistical bully, but he truly is a villain. Just take a look at his lair. Do you think a hero would live in this lab? Who could possibly be more evil than a guy who conquered Earth? Well, how about a guy who destroys entire planets? That's exactly what Razlor does. Another one-shot character, this Randy Savage voice wrestler is basically the Thanos of the Dexter's Laboratory world. An alien of unknown origins, Razlor travels from planet to planet and battles their greatest champions. If they fail to give him worthy adversaries, then he destroys their planet. His path of destruction leads him to Earth, where he battles the entire Justice Friends team. He makes short work out of them all. Monkey's the only one who's able to stop him, but even he had a hard time taking this warrior down. Razlor is the greatest villain in the show, not only because of his strength, but also the level of villainy he dishes out. Remember, we're talking about a guy who can destroy planets. With how well he handled the Justice Friends, alongside the fact that he's fought many other wrestlers beforehand, he's unquestionably one of the strongest characters in the show. With a body count most likely beyond the billions, how could we not crown this guy as King of Evil? And that's the list. What do you think? Agree with our list, or do you have a different take? Let us know in the comments below. Also, hit that notification bell and check out our Good to Evil playlist, where we break down the morality to all your favorite cartoons. But most importantly, stay wicked.